What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Not for the Week podcast. It's your boy James, as always. Today's episode, we actually got a good buddy of mine. He shares my last name. We talked over Zoom since he's on the other side of the world down in Australia, enjoying a nice summer while I'm covered in snow and rain. So I hate him for that. But yeah, we sit down with my buddy Chris Mooney, who's actually he was a personal trainer, and now he basically teaches personal trainers how to optimize their business and scale up. So it's a fascinating talk. We discuss the personal training industry in general, the pros and cons, the goods and the bads. We also talk about the COVID lockdown and how that has affected some businesses and kind of forced the cream to rise to the top. So it's a really good episode. Super stoked that we finally got to link up. And he's a cool ass dude. We share a lot in common. We share a good last name, a love for lifting heavy weights and good beer, and also an affinity for the Raiders, despite them sucking. So yeah, stick around for the episode. It's a good one. Really stoked. So here we go. Chris Mooney.
Who the fuck is that guy?
I make my own moves, yeah, I'm bossing.
All weak bitches, please proceed to the exit.
Is there no one else? Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
We are Not for the Week.
All right, guys, welcome in. I'm here with my buddy Chris Mooney. No relation, obviously, but shares some quality namesake. And he's actually over in Australia right now. Personal trainer, entrepreneur, and great, like an overall good personality. I don't know if you guys follow him on social media. He doesn't cut corners, doesn't bullshit a lot. And one of the biggest things actually that Chris, before we get too far into it, that I really enjoy and that kind of like sticks with me is I love that you call all these like you basically hold personal trainers accountable. I love when you post about, you posted one the other day about getting off your phone when you're training somebody. It's like just simple shit that like I think is lost on the fitness community now, especially with the invent of social media, and everyone wants to be insta famous as a trainer. So it becomes super. You see that you'll see the trainers that are just recording their clients 24/7 and not actually correcting the form or anything, But yeah, we'll get into that. But Chris, why don't you fill in some of the gaps there that I might have missed for some of the people that may not be familiar with you.
All right, bro. I appreciate you having me on the show, James. I mean, we've been talking shit for a little while now, via the old gram, and apart from having a couple of things in common, same surname. You're a Raider fan. I'm a Raider fan. You're an American dude that plays rugby. I'm an Australian dude that plays American football. And apart from the obvious, we're both ridiculously good-looking gentlemen.
Yeah, good beards.
Absolutely. So listen, man, as you said, my background, I was a PT for quite some time. Now what I do is I mentor and coach personal trainers. I work for a company that we have, 55, probably getting close to 60 personal trainers across the group that I do in my day job. And outside of that, I mentor and coach personal trainers that aren't part of our group as well. And, I've got some guys that are actually based over there in the US, UK, New Zealand, and across Australia. A couple of years ago, I was like, man, the PTs, we've got great people, nice guys and girls wanting to make a difference, but fuck, they're underprepared. So I partnered with a guy that does the certification process out here. So in Australia, you need to have a certificate 3 to be a group fitness instructor. Then you need to progress to certificate 4 in terms to enable you to be a personal trainer. So I thought, okay, well, look, we can't really change the criteria that's set by the government, but we've got to be able to find a way to deliver it better so that budding personal trainers can get the certification they require, but enter the industry better prepared to succeed and not just be another dude who, I was a personal trainer once and now I'm back, flipping burgers and washing cars and shit because the industry's cooked.
Right.
And I found that the things that were missing weren't the skill on how to write a better program as such. There wasn't about to know more about nutrition or training styles and methods. It was like the basic shit that you need for any business that seemed to be missing, right? And that is to provide value, to give results, to understand what's going on in the market and act accordingly. And like you touched on just before, the inclusion, I guess, of social media, or the boom of social media with regards specifically to the fitness industry, people are caught up in what they feel is the shortcuts to success by posting this, this, and this, and they neglect that they've got to be a fucking good trainer as well.
Yeah, 100%. You'll see that. You'll see the guy that's always, inventing the crazy outside the box exercise, and meanwhile his client can't actually do a bodyweight squat, but he's got him on some Bosu ball balance bullshit.
Or they're posting, get this, here's my code, get a discount over here, and here's my clients over and over and over, but they can't rub $5 together. You know what I mean? They're trying to present themselves in a way that's just not factually correct. I look at it and I'm just trying to think what some American cars, as using an example, but I don't even need to know the brand, but it's like they present themselves online like the Lambo.
Right.
And you turn up and it's a clapped out, rusted thing with different colored doors and tires that are bought.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting because I didn't realize that, but what you were talking about, so the government actually regulates who the trainers are based off of if they have that certification or not.
Correct. Well, yeah, I mean, technically there's no governing body as such. The government says, hey, this is criteria for all additional education outside of school, formal schooling. Certificate 3 is like entry level. I tell in Australia, before you can drive a car, you need your learner plate.
Yeah.
And then once you've held that for a period of time and you pass a test, practical test, you can then go for what's called a provisional license. Right. It depends on your age. You have to hold that for a period of time before you can go on what's called an open license, which is what most people now have, driving the streets without any restrictions.
Yeah.
So people understand that out here. They say, okay, well, I can't have my provisional license until I've done my learners, right? And so Cert 3 is your learners, Cert 4 is your provisional, and then you get to go out and run your business and do your thing, right? And I tell people, when you got your provisional driver's license, the only people that were excited for you was yourself and maybe your mum, whereas people are obtaining this certificate 4 and they're expecting accolades and they're expecting to earn 150K a year and they're expecting to live the dream just because they got this cert that really can take 16 weeks, 12 weeks, depends on what you do, So I'm trying to re-educate them, dude, and say, like, hey, be excited for yourself. That's cool. You've made a step in the right direction. You're doing,
but you're not there yet.
Hey, it's early days, man. Yeah. It's early days,
It's interesting because I think that's the biggest hurdle, because I used to do PT for a while, right? And I did it for maybe 6-7 years. And that was my biggest hurdle. Like I had my bachelor's degree and I had a high level cert through the NSCA, and it was hard to tell people, like, just explain the difference, because they're like, oh, I could go to Joe Schmo down the road and he only charges like $15 per session, right? He trains me in his garage. Like, why would I pay, $70 to work with you, right?
Yeah.
Like, but they don't understand. It's hard. I think it's become so saturated, especially in the US, because of social media, that everyone's a fucking personal trainer, regardless of if they went to school or not, right? Yeah. So it's like you get these guys that maybe did a bodybuilding show and all of a sudden now they're trainers, right?
Yeah.
It's saturated the market, that it's made it very difficult for like reputable trainers to make, decent money, because, you got these guys undercutting you so badly. So it's and then you have to spend all the time on educating people why you're a better fit, or why, you spend all this time, this extra time.
Well, and this is how I look at it. We've got a similar problem out here. I say problem, similar situation out here, is that it's saturated, bro. There's hundreds and probably even thousands of people being churned out of these organizations as personal trainers every year.
Yeah.
Right. The average time in the industry is 9 months once they get it. So it's a tanking industry for those that just think they're going to make it. Right.
Yeah.
But the challenge out here is that we don't really have many personal trainers undercutting down such a low price.
Right.
The problem here is that they're all the market is willing to pay, $50, $60, $80, $90 a session. Right. So that means that we've got people out here pre-COVID, post-COVID, it's kind of settled a little bit, but pre-COVID shutdown, we had people out here that weren't worth $20 a session being paid $70, $80 because the market was paying for that rate in their facility or their town or city that they were training out of. So there was this inflated sense of ability or experience because they were getting paid the money that the better guys were getting paid, but they weren't any better, right? So COVID was good. It thinned out that kind of heard. There's quite a few people that all of a sudden they had an epiphany that PT wasn't really for them. They're all about nutrition now, or they're about lifestyle, or they're about, you know, whatever. It made it from there. But this is where I'm at too with the social media thing. Is you had a good point before. You have to spend a lot of, if you're a good, experienced, established trainer, and you can get results based on, you know, a results-based training and you know, evidence-backed approach to getting their results. Is the problem is now you're competing with people who have probably got a good rig, or they do social media really well, or they're quite photogenic and they're pumping their stuff out, and people are blind sheep and they follow that as a legitimate trainer, right?
Right.
And for years, man, I'd sit back and go, man, this is bullshit. You got all these wannabe influencers that are grabbing the attention, and meanwhile we got real legitimate trainers that can't get a run because of this. And I sat back and went, well, what a fucking loser attitude that is.
Oh yeah, it's there. You
Why
can't.
don't these better trainers get the fuck on social media and, you know, develop their brand and be accessible and show the world what they bring and what they're about. So I believe that is happening. I believe that the tide is slowly turning, that we've got legitimate operators out there now putting their shit online and competing. So instead of sitting back on, oh, influencer A's talking all this trash and blah, 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 it's like, well, hang on a minute. You could grab the same attention. Doesn't mean you have to talk the trash. You can deliver it authentically, but you can use their strategies.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's just, it forces you to elevate your game.
Yeah.
To compete, right?
Absolutely.
I think I was more referring to, like, you're having to spend additional time, maybe, like, for example, when I was doing it, I had a full schedule, right? I could take on maybe a couple clients. So it almost got to the point where if I had somebody that was fighting me on prices, like, you know what, I don't have time to explain to you what the difference is, right? Like, I don't have time to sit down with you and try to sell you on my services, right? It's if it's not apparent to you, you know, that there's a massive difference in value. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of a lazy attitude at some time in certain respects, but
it's knowing it's knowing. Well, yeah, you're right. When people do that without the weight behind them, it's a lazy cop out. But if you know what you bring, I'm a big believer, and everyone's like, hey man, show your worth. You know, if your boyfriend's treating you bad, you got to show your worth. If your boss doesn't pay you enough, you got to show your worth. I'm like, oh yeah, you can show it all you like, man, but you've got to know it as well, you know, like both ways. So you've got to, so I made that completely back to front. Everyone keeps saying know your worth, right?
Right.
And you can know it as much as you like, but unless you're showing other people what you're worth, then it doesn't really matter, right?
Right,
So
exactly.
Trainer, if you know you're good and you can show the results and you can show the success that you can achieve, then you can have that chat with people when they say, hey man, so and so does it cheaper down the road. Oh, awesome, bro. Maybe that's your best fit.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not a good fit.
Yeah. Right. No, 100%. 100%. How has business, because you touched on it a little bit with the COVID things, thinning it out, how has business been for you through the COVID? Have you noticed a downtick?
For me personally, not too bad, man. I mean, the gyms that I operate, we got told at 8:30 p.m. on a Sunday that all gyms should cease operation by midday the next day.
Yeah.
Right. So that was pretty hectic, man. We have at the time we had 9 facilities with 2 that were literally 2-3 weeks off opening for the first time.
Oh shit.
So 64 personal trainers that overnight were told you don't have a place to operate your business from as of midday tomorrow. So, bro, it was chaotic to say the least. The company I work for is the founders and the guys that run it, ex-military. So completely as expected, we rolled in Monday morning, whiteboards set up, strategies in place, everyone's got a job to do, and we executed and we were shut by midday. I spent the next week or 2 reaching out to my PT saying, here's what I feel you should be doing. This is the areas I feel you should really focus on. Give yourself 24 to 48 hours to freak the fuck out and go, oh my God, what's going to happen? But the reality is this has happened. We don't know how long we're going to be shut down. So here's how I believe you can save your business and look to grow, if not at least maintain over the next few weeks. Yeah. And some of them executed on that, and they executed it exceptionally well, and they got the rewards. Others stuck their head in the sand and sulked for a week or 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they're sulking for 3 weeks, and all of a sudden they're out of a business, right? That's the ones that found out they didn't really have a business, they had a job. Yeah. Right. And they lost their job. So
they weren't totally invested.
They weren't, man. They, for whatever reason, there was other things that kept them afloat. that were outside of their control. So when that was taken away from them, so was their lifeline. So for me personally, and what I do with my education and coaching, no real dramas. Picked up new clients, gave me an opportunity to spend a bit more time on that. So man, I've been quite fortunate that the work I put in has yielded a good result. And we've been reopened now for about 16 weeks out here in the state that I live in.
Oh wow.
We're pretty fortunate. We're in prime part of the world, and the weather's sweet. We don't have a super condensed or super congested living lifestyles here. So for whatever reason, man, the COVID really didn't kick in. I think we had a total of 6 deaths in our state, and the first 5 happened in the first 2-3 weeks.
Oh wow.
In a thing. So pretty fortunate there. And I've got clients that have been in the state in Victoria that literally just opened up, I think 3 weeks back now, 2-3 weeks max.
Yeah. So it's starting to open up a little bit more.
Yeah. And we're into summer now. Summer officially started here, and it's 8:30 in the morning. We're already at 30 degrees Celsius, which I'm not sure off the top of my head what that converts to, but it's probably around 80-90 degrees.
Oh wow.
It's hot.
Need to make a trip out there because it's cold as fuck here.
Yeah, every time I see you post this time of year, I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
man,
not worth it.
Snow, but it's not my thing.
Not worth it.
Yeah.
Before, would you mind touching on a little bit, because you mentioned like the little tips that you gave like what were some of the things that you told some of your clients, like as far as like when the COVID hit, to keep their businesses alive, or like what they should be focusing on, because that's kind of an interesting topic, I think.
For sure, man. What I told them was communication and value.
Yeah.
You got to stay in touch with your clients, because you're freaking out that your business has just been ripped out from underneath you, which is a legitimate concern situation, and so be it. So are they. Your clients may have also had their business shut down, or their place of employment closed or altered. Plus, as you remember, back in March, there was a lot of fear. Like, I'm not going to lie, when it first kicked, I've got a young family and parents in a certain age group that they were telling us was the freak out moment. So I was like, you know what? I don't feel this is what it's going to be, but fuck it. We don't know any better. So for the first few weeks, let's execute on everything we're supposed to do. And then we'll have data, right? So I said to them the same thing, is like, let's give it the credit we need to, based on the data we have. And that is, okay, let's say this is a pretty fucking serious deal. You want the best for yourself and your clients. So, you know, there was PTs trying to work around, hey, what if I went to their garage, or what if they came to my house, or what if we all went and met on this secret location? I'm like, yeah, but what if this thing is as bad as it says, and you just fuck it up for everybody? So pull your head in, get in touch with everyone, let them know that, hey, the only thing that's going to change is we're not going to be able to, you know, train hands-on face-to-face. Now I've been using Zoom for 3 years or more for my business. So I was coaching them. Look, this is how you can use Zoom more than just to talk to them, but there's a strategy we put into play where you can actually coach your clients almost as good as in person, and sometimes better, because you can then have the video to refer back to after the session to critique both yourself, but also them, and provide additional value, and they can check it out later as well, right? So yeah, my thing was just, hey, be really open with your communication and continue to provide as much value as possible. Don't talk dollars, don't talk cents. If someone turns around and says, hey, listen, yeah, I'm taking a hit because of COVID, then you need to already have something ready to go as an alternative, so that you're on the front foot, rather than, you know, different people coming to you at different times, wanting discounts or cancellation completely.
Right.
So, you know, I'd say to them, look, create what I call a guidance pack. And the guidance is like what most people would call online PT, right? So give them access to an app, touch base with them on a fortnightly basis as a minimum, put them in a Facebook group where you can do regular contact to the group. So you're not having to spend itemized amounts of time with people for a less rate, but they're still getting communication. They're still getting value. They're still getting results. You're still holding them accountable. And more importantly, you're keeping them and their mindset positive and moving forward through a very confusing and challenging time for most people.
Yeah. No, it makes total sense. And honestly, to be completely honest, I feel it's almost better for the fitness industry to have something like this, where they're forced to adapt to bringing it online, because I think you fall into a comfort zone, right? Like everyone falls into a comfort zone of, oh, hey, I can go to the gym and we have this machine and this machine and this, we can get a great workout with that. But now you're forcing these trainers to adapt to like a home workout, right? Like what can you do with a band and a kettlebell, right?
Yeah, and it forces the trainer to dig deeper into their repertoire or their tool bag
Right.
of skills that they should have been developing over the years
Yeah.
if they took this career as seriously as they make out on their social media.
Yeah.
Right. When they're telling everyone they're all about this coach's life and they're doing this workshop and this seminars, oh man, now's your time to prove it, brother. You've got a set of bands and a dumbbell, and maybe if someone's lucky enough to have got in before the purge of gym equipment, you might have picked up some gear at home. So let's go.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of PTs, I guess, were outed as really not being able to do shit without pin loaded machines and and some dumbbells that are at a commercial gym ready to go.
Yeah, no, it definitely forces you to dig deep into that knowledge bag and see, how well you know the body and movement, right? So
I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing that's come as a result, brother. And I don't know if it's happening out there for you yet, but the gyms opened up here, and during I think in Queensland, I think it was about 11 or 12 weeks of shutdown, right? So in that period of time, a lot of commercial gym personal trainers, so gym trainers that operate out of big gyms, they decided this wasn't for them. Some of the gyms let them out of their agreements. Some of them forced them to stick it out, whatever. There was all different fallout from that. But what this is, there's a new pandemic, and this is failed personal trainers that have gone to be an online personal trainer that are now sneaking around commercial gyms to use as backdrop for their filming their content, or maybe training new clients or providing online stuff for. And I'm on a mission, man. When I see them at the clubs that I run, that I work for, it's called EMF. Yeah. When I see them on social, man, I politely contact, hey, what's up, man? I noticed you're using our facility to produce content that you're then trying to, leverage to move people to your online program. I need you to stop.
Right.
Reason B, man, is we got personal trainers that pay money to be there, and then I'm committed to their success. And if you're in there, then you're taken away from that. If you can either join the team, be part of our team, or you can stop and go film it from your garage and see if you get the same kind of aesthetic appeal. Yeah, I mean, if you have a look at our facilities, man, if you check out emfpc.com.au, stands for Elite Military Fitness Performance Center. So I'm stumbling on my words. EMFPC. You'll see what I'm talking about, man. We got amazing facilities. We've got gyms that are 5,000 square feet. We've got hot and cold recovery pools, magnesium pools, altitude training rooms, steam rooms, saunas. Like the shit's
just everything you need, pretty much.
Everything you need. So you can imagine, man, you're a failed PT. You pay your $25, your $30 a week for full access, and you're in there filming, and people that don't know that gym or don't know you feel you're associated with it, and that's where you're operating your business from. So you must be legit, right? So I sort of cracked down on that. I just say it's just like if someone walked into a mechanic workshop that wasn't theirs and started filming a vlog on how to fix cars, like the mechanic would be like, dude, this is my fucking workshop. What are you doing here?
Yeah, there's you definitely have to make sure that you're, because that could definitely be an issue, especially, he's teaching some bullshit. And now everyone thinks, oh man, the trainers at that facility don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly, man. Yep. And like, oh, they support that product, or they support that diet fad or whatever. Yeah, so you're right, man. That's what we try to do. And a lot of them don't get it, man. I've had a few that understand when I have a chat with them. Some of them get narky. It's like, what do you mean? I pay my $20 a week. So yeah, as a member. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're not producing commercial footage here. Yeah,
it's a whole different ball game when you start getting into, the content creation and all that type things that were never an issue, maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No, I haven't experienced that yet, because our gyms honestly haven't been open really. we just closed down 2 weeks ago, so no gyms again for at least until January 2nd.
Yeah, right. Because January 1st, you know what I mean? Like January 1st might be just too soon. Well, there's a whole nother topic though, right?
Right. No, I knew it was going to happen. As soon as they closed us down for Thanksgiving, I was like, well, they're for sure going to shut us down for Christmas. And if they're going to shut us down for Christmas, they might as well shut us down for New Year's. Why not?
Let me ask you, bro, out there in the US, how many positive cases or transmission has been tracked to a gym that you're aware of?
I honestly, and I follow a lot of guys, especially like Ian Smith, over in Belmar. And I think he has some astronomically large number with 0 cases. I think it was like 60 or 70,000 visits with no cases. Yeah. No, I know the gym I train at, it's not a large volume gym, but no cases there, you know?
Yeah. Same out here. Tens of thousands, if not by now, actual check-ins would be north of that, like 100,000
Yeah.
across the entire country.
Yeah.
Not one case of COVID has been attached to or a result of a visit to a gym.
And that's
it seems to be the first ones they want to shut down.
it's insane to me, because I was telling somebody this the other day, is so when we went into this 2-week freeze 2 weeks ago, right? They shut down gyms. Pretty much gyms were the only thing that was shut down. Like hair salons are open, Walmart and all the convenience stores, they're all open. They're at shorter capacity, but even 75% capacity for Walmart is like 5 or 6 times most people that go into my gym. So it's like, it makes no sense. Gyms are honestly like the cleanest place, because if you're running a reputable facility, you're wiping down everything anyway. You're cleaning, every day.
Yeah.
It's a hard, I don't know. It's a hard one for me.
Yeah, I can't figure out the logic behind it. I'm a data-based guy. I do listen to evidence that's out there. And I mean, I just haven't heard anything that says that the gym is where this shit originates or spreads through, to me, it seems like the guys and girls that were excluded from sports and fun at school break are the ones making the rules, because they've never stepped foot in a gym, or they don't understand what it is, apart from maybe Soul Cycle is probably all they've experienced when it comes to gym,
Yeah, it is interesting to see, because obviously you look at all these politicians, and none of them are really in shape. Like, I wouldn't consider any, maybe they do some running here and there, but I wouldn't say any of them really are consistently athletic. So it's like, how are you making that decision? It's
a big, and I mean, I've got family out there in California, and and some friends out there too. So I keep an eye on what's going on there, and I'm like, dude, like,
yeah.
The scary thing is, these people making these crazy shit happen have been voted in by the majority.
Yeah. No, I think I'd have a less of an issue with it if there was, just proper explanation of the reasoning behind why they would. The problem is that they just come out and they say no gyms, but they don't explain why there's no gyms, or even provide any shred of, this is why we think it's a good idea to shut down the gyms, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And you know what? That just shows to me that, because they have no clue, man. Like, because they're happy to provide these explanations on the things they want to open, why it's necessity. Like they say, why are liquor stores allowed to stay open? Oh, because without it, people are going to slide into this and slide into that, and their mindsets will go in. It's like, hold on hold on a minute. So alcohol's all good.
Yeah, that one's good.
Endorphins released from exercise is no good. All right, yeah, okay, I get you.
There's no tax revenue associated with alcohol with gyms as opposed to alcohol.
That's right.
So
that's exactly right.
That's really what it comes down to. They don't want to lose out on any money. But
yeah,
I don't know.
That's why your Walmarts are open. But it's interesting, dude. And I see, if we keep it back on track with the PT industry, is that, this is a great opportunity for a personal trainer to really carve their name in stone as a professional, as a provider, as a leader, as someone that really helped get people through this stage of uncertainty and fear and confusion, all the rest of it. Just like other industries have people that can do the same, but obviously this is our space. So we're sitting there going, well, what can you be doing to help yourself and your community come out of this much stronger physically, mentally, and internal health wise?
Well, it's interesting, because you're right. Like, obviously this opens up a whole new avenue of, online or, content-based training. Right. And I saw it towards the early part of the shutdown, right? Like back in like April, I believe, maybe late March. I don't know. But I saw this influencer, I guess, I don't know. I don't know too much about her, but she put out this ebook, and it was basically at-home workouts for the quarantine, explaining like, if you don't have any real equipment, this is what you can do, like towel stuff on the hardwood, all this stuff. Yeah. And reading some of the comments back then, I remember reading them like, what the hell? Because they were all people, oh, you're just taking advantage of people. You're taking advantage of a sore like a sensitive subject. It's too soon. You can't be putting this stuff out there. It's like, no, she's seeing she's
Yeah,
seeing
man.
a trend. She's getting ahead of the trend, because now you look online, everyone's got at home workouts. She was just
Yeah.
early to the table.
Early adapters always cop the biggest shit,
It's
and
crazy.
and there's two ways. I'm for that example of what you just gave. I'm all for it. It's like, hey, opportunity. People are going to need this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Then there's the other side of that is people that manipulate the situation, or they take advantage of the emotional situation. That's different. You know what I'm saying? If she's
100%.
going, you're stuck at home. Here's what you can do to stop yourself going batshit crazy and gaining weight and getting further into this, depression state. Then there's others that really manipulate it, like and try to sell the fear and mainstream media.
Yeah.
That's a different. It's their approach too, right? Let's show all the brutal bad. Like, I spoke to you a couple of times about what's going on over there in Portland and Oregon. From our perspective out here, was every corner was on fire and there was riots in every street. And I remember you saying it's a relatively small block or area in the city, and the rest is pretty much business as usual. But from where we sit out here, if you watch the TV, the entire state was up in flames of riots,
100%.
So, if an influencer was using that angle to manipulate, scare, and freak people out to buy their product, I'm down with that's bullshit.
Right.
But if they're providing value on something, man, good for her. She saw an opportunity, she pounced. Let's go.
Yeah. No, it's 100%. You got to take advantage of those opportunities, because, if you wait too long, obviously the space becomes crowded again, right? You got to get your foot in the door early. What I think is going to be interesting to see is going to be with the long lockdowns and stuff, people have started building up their arsenal of at-home equipment, right? Like we
saw that here.
Yeah, I know a bunch of guys that have massive home gyms now in their garage or whatever. It'll be interesting, in my opinion, to see how many of those people never return to a box gym, right? Like,
well, if we talk about a test tube example of that here, and again, it was a 12-week shutdown.
mm-hmm.
You could not buy home gym equipment by about mid-April here, which was 3 weeks into the forced government shutdown, right? You couldn't buy it. People were selling old, broken, rusty pieces of shit at higher than premium rate home gym equipment, so because it was the demand was there.
Just demand.
12 weeks later, man, we reopened our gyms. The first week was a bit of a scary moment, because now that the gyms were open and people were able to cancel or put the membership on hold, we had a massive slide in the first week.
Right.
But ever since then, and continuing to today, we're having a net growth at every single one of our clubs ever since we reopened.
Interesting.
We're back above where we were when we shut down. So the thing about that is, and also you can buy cheap gym equipment online from just about anywhere right now, and through classifieds and marketplace and stuff. So
everyone's selling it off now.
Bro, the biggest thing we found is people missed the social interaction and the community vibe of being in a fitness facility that you just can't get at home. Now, I'm 41. I've been training. I'd spent probably a good 4 or 5 straight years training from my garage because I couldn't make it to a gym, and I was in football, so I could not train.
Right.
And I was good with it, man. I was no problem whatsoever. But now, like, I enjoy it, and I don't really even talk to a lot of people when I'm at the gym. I train 8 o'clock at night most nights, but the space and the vibe and the selection and just you're going to a destination to work rather than 3 steps into your garage where there's you got to be significantly more dialed in on your self-discipline.
Oh yeah.
In that situation.
I'm personally the same way. Like, I have some stuff at home, but I've never been the type that's like, oh man, I can just go out there and just, knock out a workout, because I don't enjoy it. It's like, I can get it done, but it's not an enjoyable experience. It's kind of, it feels more like work when it's at my house.
Absolutely.
Just having to travel somewhere, right?
And let's be real. There's also the ego boost training in a facility, where you got other dudes there, and you kind of, whether it's whether you're all aware of the competition or it's just in your head,
right?
You're pushing a little harder. You're trying a little more. Plus, you've got equipment that enables you to do so. Like, I was training last night and lifting a weight that there's no way I would have tried that at home.
Right.
Because if I drop that shit, it's game over. Whereas at the gym, I can grab another meathead and say, "Hey, bro, come give me a spot on this."
Spot me real quick.
I'm going hard,
No, there's definitely that.
I do believe when they open, you'll see the majority of people go back.
Yeah. I could see that. Yeah. It's just interesting to think about, because you do see that it's the same way here. You can't buy you can't buy anything really.
Yeah.
I think Rogue is about 3 months behind on their orders right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And
And that's basic shit when you think about it. You know,
Yeah.
it's not cable machines, it's
no.
bars and plates and racks.
What I have seen though is it is somewhat easier to get because we're building out a little bit of a gym for at one of our facilities, and
Cool.
just like a for the employees, but we've been able to pick up a lot of like nice pieces of equipment because of some of these big box gyms that have just gone under, like Gold's Gym closed
Yeah.
all those locations, and 24 shut down some locations, and it's like been able to scoop up some really nice equipment for super cheap because of that. But
Yeah, and it happened out here too. You know,
yeah,
people. I got friends that are PTs that weren't sure. So I got guys that have invested anywhere from $10,000 to $80,000 to deck out their home gym in case their facilities never reopened. Now the
wow,
ones that forked out closer to 80 grand, they're sticking with the home gym
yeah,
and running their business from home, and props to them.
might as
A couple
well
of
at that
them
point.
are hybrid. Yeah, and I look at it like this, man, and say, well, look, this is the time now, or the era for the hybrid PT. That is someone that needs to be excellent at delivering face-to-face personal training, because now you can charge probably even a higher premium than previously, because you know that the people that are willing to pay it will pay it. But you've also got to be able to deliver online exceptional service, value, results, and as a result, there people will also pay more. So pre-COVID, $10 a week online PT. Now I know guys charging consistently $95 a week for online coaching.
Wow,
You know what I mean? But they provide this.
right,
You know, so if you're the client, you would put your phone in a position where I can see you doing the movement, and I'm sitting in front of my big screen here, and I can sit there and coach you through the session and call you back to the phone to communicate, then send you back to the piece of equipment you're training on. So there's better ways to do online PT than signing up to your, $20 a month Trainerize, using some generic videos that are on there, putting together a workout and making your client do it, and hoping or guessing or assuming
yeah,
they're ticking it off and doing it in the right way to get the results.
yeah. That was always my biggest issue when I started out doing some online training. Back when I was training people, I did some online training, but that was my biggest issue though, is because you expect something, and then you're not necessarily always getting it on their end. Like when I write something, this is how I expect a certain intensity to it, right?
Yeah.
And then you're just
can't
giving it to
control
them. You're just giving it to them, and you never know if they're actually. They say, "Oh man, that was a tough workout." Was it really tough, or are you just kind of saying it?
Yeah, and this is why I couldn't do it as an online PT with just sending out programs.
Yeah,
like if I had 10,000 engaged, ready to die to buy my program users, and I would pump out a generic program, I'd still be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, cool, man, we're making money off it, but no one's sticking around because they get bored with it. There's no engagement. They might get a result, they might not. I'd rather have 1,000 and sit there and do these calls, or have staff that assist with 1,000. Obviously, I'm a realist. That's a big number. But, you want to make sure that they're actually executing it. We would do, your background's football, as is mine. How did you get better at practice? It wasn't just from practicing and the coach yelling. It's because you go watch the film later.
Right.
You go, oh, man, now I get the intensity you're talking about. This one, not this one. Yeah, right, okay. And then you can go back and push a little harder. So the guys that can embrace that, I think my background with the American football way of performance coaching and reviewing film and breaking things down to the microscopic level is something that I bring to my team of trainers to say, look, consider this. And if we go back to what we mentioned at the start, PTs walking around filming their clients, like literally just watching them work out. It's like, man, one, they're not paying you for that, dude. And eventually they're going to get jack of it. Two, half the time the form's not the best, or the intensity's not the best, because you're not coaching them. You're too busy filming them. So here's the deal. Buy a $20 tripod, put your phone in the tripod, do everything else the same, but be in the shot.
Yeah.
Coach them, push them, drive them, grab their arm and put it in the right spot, pushing their hip where they need to go. Like, do all this, because one, they're going to get much better results. Two, they're going to stick with you because they know that you actually give a fuck and you're engaged in the session. And three, now, this is the big one, the audience that you're trying to create content for, now they see how you coach rather than just who you coach. Now
Yeah.
they think, oh, that's why he's good. That's why he's charging this much. That's why she can get away with that. Oh, that makes a lot more sense now. But the hardest thing is, man, breaking these PTs. Even some of mine that operate out of the facilities that I work for, some of them still do it. I scratch my head and go, man, I don't see how you can't see what I'm saying. But they will.
Yeah. It's a much more engaging video that you described there, seeing the trainer actually adjusting, because you can tell somebody, hey, tuck your elbow. But when they actually see, oh, that's how it's supposed to be done,
Like
it's
that.
much easier to grasp, and it clicks a little bit better.
Yeah. And it shows that you give a fuck.
Yeah.
You're there because that person that's paying you is your undivided attention right now. And if you want to generate the social, because let's face it, it's 2020. It is a deal. It is part of the process.
Right.
But I look at that and go, I don't care how good that person looks that's in the video. I just can't look past the fact that they're paying you for a session that you give such little fucks about that you're just holding the camera for instead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a headspace thing. I mean, that's something that in general, I guess society needs to snap out of it and go, well, fuck, we all share these motivational memes and we all share quotes of, all the big time gurus, but executing it in our daily life seems to be a much bigger challenge for most.
Well, I think it speaks to a larger issue of, being present in the moment.
Yeah.
We get so caught up on the social media of, look what that guy's doing. Look what that guy's doing. Oh man, my life sucks because I'm not there. I'm not doing that. I don't drive that car. It's like being present in your own space. So being present in that session is key.
Brian, it'll pay off for any PTs that are listening to this. I guarantee you it will pay off 10 times, 100 times more than what you think you're getting from holding the camera, filming that person do their session half-assed because you're not really driving them. Guarantee it. Well, it's got to be in the long game, right? People will know you for that, and you will build a brand on it rather than just being. I mean, I don't know about you, bro, but if I'm flicking through my stories and I take an active interest in PT accounts on social because it's where I'm at. Right. If I see that, I just skip it. If I see too much, I just unfollow. I just don't want to see it anymore. It's like, well, you're not showing any value. I'm not learning nothing from watching that.
Right. No, it makes sense. Makes sense. We need more actual hands-on PT.
Yeah, man. And like I said, it's not my term, but I like the term, the hybrid PT.
Yeah.
You got to be able to execute hands-on and you got to be able to execute online. And the ones that can bridge the gap and do them both well, you will constantly have success stories through your hands-on face-to-face that will help you promote your online, because people online will see, like I just mentioned before, not who you train, but how you train. Mm-hmm. And then they'll go, great, that resonates with me. That's what I need. That's the kind of trainer I know will help me get my results.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. I love it. You need to get it.
We've got to, I'd love to do this more often with you, dude. I've got another call. I've got to jump on.
Yeah, no, let's do it. Let's do it.
Kicking off work time out here.
Yeah. But, we'll get you back on a little bit down the road here, and we'll finish it a little bit longer, maybe.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And we'll talk some other bullshit too.
Before you go, though, you want to plug kind of where people can find you or your business if people are interested.
Man. Appreciate it. Yeah. Best way to do is to find me is on the IG. So it's the number, which one am I? This side, this 51 _ fit. So 51 _ FIT. You'll find me on there. Let us know that you come through from the podcast or from James. It's always good to see where the connections are coming from and to build that community out. And yeah, man, I really appreciate jumping on the show, man. I've been listening to it for a bit, obviously, and a bit of a fan. So it's good to finally connect, bro.
Yeah, right on, man. I appreciate you doing it.
All right, my man. Well, we'll talk soon, eh?
All right, sounds good, brother. Take it easy.
Peace. Cheers.